What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to create two separate types of star trails with only one photo here in Photoshop. So let's get into it. What's going on, guys? My name is Brendan from BeWellCreative.com, home to editing tutorials, camera gear reviews, tricks, and tips. If you're not into learning new things or cool websites, then just find me on Instagram at BurnWills to see a little bit more of my work. I just wanted to take a quick second to let you know that I make new Photoshop tutorials every single week, so if that's something you'd be into, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Before I get started, I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm hosting another workshop coming up in about 2 weeks starting on November 18th. In this 3-week-long workshop, we will meet every single Saturday and Sunday, live and online, where I'll be teaching you everything that you need to know about Photoshop and creating beautiful composites and photo manipulations. If that sounds like something that'd be right up your alley, make sure to get a little bit more info or even sign up via the link in the description below. I'd love to see you guys out there. Anyways, let's get straight into the starburst thing. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to do a star explosion and then a star vortex, so sort of the zooming in and then the spinning kind of star trails. We're going to be going through a few different steps here. So we first have to create a Photoshop action, and then we have to make our star trails, and then we're going to bring it into a separate program called Starstax, and then the Starstax will make everything look really clean and fluid for us. So this is the image that we're going to be using today. If you'd like to follow along, I've included a download link for this photo down in the description below. So once you open this image, what we want to do is we want to get rid of these little palm trees here, and then we also want to get rid of these shooting stars just because they're going to look a little bit weird once we start to move the image in and things like that. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to grab my clone stamp tool just by pressing S, and then I'm just going to go through and I'm going to roughly sort of just clone stamp out these branches here. Now you don't have to be super exact and make sure that the colors and everything match because everything is about to get blurred, so you won't really be able to notice. But if you want, you can always just make this look flawless, but it's up to you. I'm just going to hold Alt and I'm just going to clone stamp out this shooting star, and I'm going to do the same thing with this shooting star. Now our image is ready to have our effect added onto it here. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go and open up our Photoshop Actions panel. Now this isn't something that I've often included in my tutorials, but to get to your Photoshop Actions, you just go up here right to the little play icon here, and then a little window will pop up. Or if you don't have that icon anywhere, you can just go up here to Window and then down here to Actions and just click on Actions, and then this panel will pop up for you. So as you see here, I already have my two actions created, but I'm going to go over and create a new action with you guys just so you know how everything goes. So the first action that I'm going to create here is the zoom star effect. So what I'm going to do to create a new action, I'm just going to go to this little new layer icon here. I'm just going to click that. Now I'm going to name this zoom stars 2 just because I already have zoom stars, so you guys can just name it whatever you'd like. And I'm just going to keep everything set like that, and the set is just inside of the group Vortex Stars, so if you want to make a group, you can add it into any of the groups that you'd like. Now from here, I'm just going to press record. Now since we're recording, Photoshop is going to remember everything that we do until we press stop, so then it can just replicate that every time we want to use this action again. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to press Command or Control J to duplicate our layer. From there, we're going to press Command T, and then we're going to go up here to our width, and we're just going to change it to 99.8. Press enter, and then we're going to go over here to height, and we're just going to go again to 99.8, and then we'll just check the little checkbox there. And then lastly, before we're finished, we're just going to go up to our layer blending mode, and we're going to go from normal down here to lighten. Perfect. So now we can just go here to our Photoshop action window and press stop. So now as you see, everything that we just did is now recorded underneath our zoom stars here. And so what we want to do now is we want to do that exact same process, except now 30 to 80 times. Now that might sound a little bit ridiculous, but trust me, it looks really awesome once you start adding this on. So to apply this 30 to 80 times, of course, we're not going to manually do that over and over and over, which is why we created a Photoshop action for it. So now what we can do with the zoom stars that we just created, we can just click on our zoom stars and we can just press play. And as you see, it makes a new layer, and then we can click play again, and again, and again. until you get to a point that you're happy with. So in this case, I'm going to go to about 35 or 40. So I'm just going to start counting. So this is that effect applied 40 times. Now it's up to you if you want to make this effect stretch out even longer or shorter, whatever your deal is. But in this case, I think I'm okay with about 40. So I'm just going to leave it right about here. So now before I go on and move ahead into exporting and then working in Starstax, I'm going to quickly show you guys how to also create the twirl light trails in Photoshop as well while we're still in the program. So now that we've created the zoom effect, let's learn how to create the twirl effect. So just like before, we're going to open up our Photoshop Actions panel. We're going to create a new action. We're going to name this to twirl effect and click record. Now just like before, we're going to press Command J to duplicate our layer. Now we're going to press Command T to transform our layer. Now this part's going to be a little bit different. This little anchor point right in the middle, you can put this anywhere in your image, and that wherever you put this anchor point, that's where all of your stars are going to rotate around. So it's totally up to you where you want the stars to twist around. I'm going to throw mine right up in this corner here. So from here, I'm just going to change my angle to 0.2 and click enter. And then I'm going to change my height to 99.8. Everything else I will leave the exact same. Now just click my little checkbox to finalize that. And then lastly, just like before again, we're going to change our blending mode from normal down here to lighten. So now we have pretty much finished all the steps for that. So now we can go ahead and click stop on our Photoshop action. Now we can just click on our twirl effect and we can just play this effect 30 to 80 times over once again. So now I applied this effect 50 times, so I now have 50 individual layers here. Now we want to export all of our layers as individual files. I'm just going to go back to my star zoom effect to carry out the rest of the tutorial over there. Everything that I do with the star zoom effect still applies with the star twirl effect. Everything is the exact same. So now as you see, we've created this awesome star zoom effect, right? But if you zoom in, things are looking a little bit weird. Now let me show you. So if you zoom in, you see along the outsides here, there's sort of these weird lines and everything has this sort of odd texture, right? It's not very smooth. And what we want to do is we want to make it look smooth and flawless. So that's where Starstax come in. Now that's a free program, so if you want to download it, just click the download link down in the description below. So once you guys have applied this effect as many times as you're wanting, the next thing that we want to do is we want to export all of our layers as individual images. So what we're going to do that is we're just going to click on our top layer here, and we're going to go all the way to bottom, hold shift and click. And so now we selected all of them. Now we're just going to go up here to File, down here to Export, and then Layers to Files. Now we're going to change our file type to JPEG, and we're just going to rename this to Zoom Stars. And I'm going to create a destination folder for it, so I'm just going to go to Browse, and then go to my desktop, and I'm just going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to call this one Zoom Stars. And I'm just going to click Create, Open. So make sure your quality is set to 12, and then we can just click Run. Now, depending on how many layers you have, this might take a couple minutes, this might not take a couple minutes. Either way, I'm just going to skip ahead and I'm going to meet you guys over in Starstax. Once you've exported all of your images, you should have a little folder on your desktop with all of your images sitting in there for you. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to go, and now we're going to open Starstax, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And so what you'll do is you'll just go find your folder that all of your star images are in here, and I'm just going to select all of them and then drag and drop them into Starstax like this. The first thing that I want to do is I'm just going to go to my gears, and I'm just going to make sure my blending mode is set to gap filling. It might be set to something else, but I'm just going to make sure it's set to gap filling. And then now from there I can click stack, so just this little icon right here. Now it's going to do its magic, and it's going to merge all of our layers into one and sort of make that same star zoom effect, except it's going to do a really nice job to sort of clear up any of those weird spotty gaps that we had when we were looking at this image in Photoshop. Perfect. So once all of your images are stacked together here, if you just zoom in by pressing the little plus here, you can see how much smoother all of our stars are looking already. They look a lot cleaner, and it just looks a lot better than it did in Photoshop. Now if you look back here, there's just a little bit left over, so we can try to fix that a little bit. So we'll just go to our wrench, and then which is where all our gap filling settings are. So I like to keep my threshold a little bit lower, so like sort of what's being selected, and then the amount is totally up to you, but sometimes I just like to crank it up a bit, and then does a nice job. Cool. So now if I just zoom back out, then go check out what's happening around the image, everything is looking really smooth and a lot cleaner than it did before. Perfect. So once you're happy with the effects that you've done in Starstax, whether you're doing the zoom effect or the twirl effect, it's all the exact same thing. Once you're happy with what you have, you can just go up here to your save, and then I'm just going to name this to Zoomed Stars 1, and I'll just save it to my desktop. And then now if I just go to my desktop here, I'll have this little image and everything is good to go. All of our star zoom effect is ready to rumble. So now with this image, you can go and you can add this image into anything that you're wanting. Now I know that there is this weird white border around, and it's just because we use JPEG instead of PNG, but I just find JPEG works a lot faster in Starstax versus PNG. And for the little bit of border, it doesn't really matter too much for me. But if you're wanting to get rid of that border, make sure you export your images as a PNG 24 rather than a JPEG. Whether you've done the zoom or the vortex effect, you can now use this image to throw into any of your night skies or whatever you would like to use this effect for. Now just to show you guys sort of the difference that it makes, I'm just gonna drop my Starstax image into where all my other layers are here, and I'm just gonna turn it on and off, and you can see how much smoother our stars have become and how much of a difference that really made. So Starstax, it might seem sort of annoying and like a little bit extra stuff, but it really makes the difference in my opinion. If you like this tutorial and you want to see more like it, then make sure to visit my website at bewillcreative.com, where I got tons of tutorials and camera gear reviews. If you want to see a little bit more of my work and also see an image that I incorporated this exact technique with, then just visit my Instagram at burnwills and you can check all of that good stuff out. If you're wanting to learn Photoshop and how to create stunning images in just 3 weeks, then I definitely think my workshop will be just for you. So if you want more info on it and to sign up, make sure to hit that link down in the description below. That's all I have for you for today. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here next week for another new Photoshop tutorial. See you then.